Hello viewers, and thank you so much. This is the Big Talk with me, Costa. Today we have Honorable Koban Madzvanyika Mbizo, Member of Parliament, Kwekwe, from the Citizens Coalition for Change, Triple C.
Triple C.
So I just want to give you an opportunity to meet our viewers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Zimbabweans.
Yeah, so let's roll. Can you just give us a brief overview in terms of where are we with the CAB3?
Okay, in terms of the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, right now we are on the second reading stage. What happens on these bills is that there comes a first reading. With the first readings just introducing the bill in Parliament to make MPs aware that there's this bill and make MPs prepare for debate. So that was done on the 2nd of June. And then right now we are now on the second reading. When the second reading comes, it actually opens up a floor for honorable members to debate the bill. So this is the stage where we are. And yesterday, the first batch we debated, I think there were around 14 honorable members from both the ZANU-PF and the opposition. So this is the stage where we are. But if we finish this second stage, we then go to what we call the third stage, or the third reading, where we get to the committee stage, where honorable members are going to analyze as a clause by clause. As it stands on the second reading, is just a general debate. You can give political views, you can give, you can also bring yourself your technical views. But then when you come to the third stage, we'll be looking at each clause to say, for example, amendment of the term of office of the president, election of the president. What do you make of this clause? If we agree, if we don't agree, we may come to a point where we need to vote on the third stage.
And what are the takeaways so far?
The takeaway so far is that in terms of the 14 members who debated so far, it appears that all ZANU-PF MPs who debated were in support of their bill. And then on opposition, we've got three opposition members who debated, they were against the view. And only 2 were in support of the view from the opposition.
And in terms of the opportunities afforded to members of Parliament, what are the concerns?
Yeah, sure. There are very serious concerns about the list that is generated. Under normal circumstances, the ZANU-PF chief whip must take his list to the speaker. At the same time, the opposition chief whip must take his list to the speaker. So the speaker will be reading those 2 lists. Unfortunately, it is so suspicious that on this bill, we've seen that the opposition chief whip took his names to the ZANU-PF chief whip, and the ZANU-PF chief whip took the names and compiled the final list of who is supposed to debate or not. So we are very much disgusted about the manner in which these things have been done, and we've raised them in Parliament.
And so in terms of your fight against the bill, you have lost before the battle even started?
No, not at all, not at all. Constitutionally, every member of Parliament is allowed to debate. We may debate at the last. So I encourage Zimbabweans to remain patient. Our time is coming. And when the time comes, we want to promise you that we are going to floor what has been said by all other honored members, because there is no substance in it.
Yeah, but given the pace that has been said already, are you confident?
Very confident. It's not about numbers, it's about quality. Whenever you are debating, let me reiterate this thing. In most cases, debate is about quality. Quality matters on vote. But in terms of quality, for example, let me give you an example. The majority cannot be used to subvert the status of the law. If the law is clear on a particular subject, the majority will not do anything onto that, because that's a portion of law. The majority cannot make a decision to legalize what is legal. So quality is very important. So I encourage Zimbabweans to remain patient.
The caliber that you're dealing with seem not to care about quality at all.
Yeah, they may not care, but what is very important is, if the truth is laid bare for every Jack and Jew to see, I think that is what matters. What matters the most. Even when we take other avenues, for example, the courts and others, there will be evidence, sufficient evidence, that justice would have been done at parliament level.
Before we get into the nitty-gritties of the bill, I want to understand your position as the opposition in Parliament. Are you in unison? Do you have a one direction, one voice, one person? What is the issue? What is the position right now?
Okay, I want to make this point very clear that as opposition in Parliament, we are divided. And that must be very clear for every Zimbabwean to know. We are divided in the sense that some actually came to Parliament along with Sengo Chabangu after the illegal recalls. And some who came from the Nelson Chamisa Triple C decided to join the Chabangu-led opposition. So there are two camps right now, effectively, when it comes to this matter of CAB3. There are two camps. The camp which is supporting Senator Chawangu, which is supporting the bill, and the camp which came with Nelson Chamisa, who is opposing the bill.
In terms of numbers, how is that?
Yeah, in terms of numbers, those who are opposing, we are a bigger number. But no, every number, every head counts in terms of political votes. Every number counts. So we are very much concerned about the laws that are happened through legal recourse.
Let's look at overall the bill. You as the opposition, you are opposed to this bill. Are you opposed to it entirely? Are they? What is your point of contention when it comes to this bill?
Okay, generally with this bill, I think I oppose it entirely. Because all the clauses that are in that bill, to be honest, my brother, they don't seem to promote democracy. They don't seem to promote accountability. They don't put safeguards to protect Zimbabweans from the excessive power of the executive. Actually, it gives the executive more political power. This bill weakens the commissions that are necessary for checks and balances in terms of the executive. This bill is also weakening institutions which do so matter in this country, like the judiciary, you see. So by and large, in general, I don't support this bill in its entirety.
Which items are hitting the most?
The items that I'm sure all of them, they hate. But the items which hate the most to me, they pertain to the election of the president by parliament, taking away the votes from the citizens of Zimbabwe. Especially the fact that when this war of liberation was waged, it was entirely and largely on a principle of one man, one vote. Especially against our constitution on the idea of universal suffrage. So the transfer of the power or the right to vote from citizens, it hates me the most. And also the extension of the term of limit of office, it hates me the most again because under our current circumstances, it's not befitting to extend the term of office. People are already struggling. We are already suffering. There is a lot of abject poverty, many other things that I would highlight as we go. But then those are the two fundamental changes or constitutional amendments that hate me the most. But all others, they hate me. I want to analyze
the proponents have put forward the argument that the parliamentary system is also something that is not out of this world. It's happening in South Africa, it's happening in Botswana. Why should Zimbabwe not also have it?
Yeah, that argument has been coming. You know what happened, my brother? There's this thing which is called the legitimate expectation that you must understand. If you continue offering Zimbabweans the chance to select their president, and if that happens consecutively for more than 10 years, Zimbabweans now too have a legitimate expectation to vote for their president. If you see the current circumstances, the president was getting around 50%, 50.8%, but yet his MPs were around 65% or 60%. He has shown us that. So that shows that people are very much concerned, Zimbabweans are very much concerned about the presidential person who is going to lead the country, more than the parliamentarians. So if the president was winning an election with around 50.1%, by at least six disputed figures, it tells a lot about the character of Zimbabweans. So whenever you make that change, in a situation where the numbers are saying that, whenever you make that amendment, you must go back to the people to ask them if they are comfortable to this change.
But the argument is also that you are a representative of the people, you have been elected by people, you can also represent them in terms of electing the president.
That is true, I'm a representative of the people, but I understand this, my brother. The Constitution, under the current circumstances, Section 67, subsection 3, it provides that every Zimbabwean has a right to participate in all elections and referendums, which are provided for in our Constitution and any other law. So when we actually change to say that only MPs have the right to elect their president, we are creating a very big problem. We are actually violating this Constitution. So that amendment, to me, it is outright violates the Constitution, because it is violating the right to vote as enshrined in Section 67. Never mind that some people would say there is no need to go to referendum because Section 328 subsection 4 is a text on chapter 4 and chapter 16 does not talk about the right to vote. When we interpret these constitutions, we interpret them in letter and spirit. So we cannot restrict ourselves to the letter of chapter 4 and chapter 16. We also go to the spirit of the amendment. What does it seek to do? So the amendment in this case seeks to actually take away the right to vote as given in our Bill of Rights. And as such, we should go back to the people to seek for their concurrence or consent.
Yeah, still on the parliamentary system.
Yes.
Would you want it to be revised to really reflect exactly as the South African model, or you entirely don't want to see it?
Yeah, if it is revised to a purely PR model, PR model, to me that would make sense. In South Africa, let me give the difference. In South Africa, they don't vote for MPs in their individual capacities, but they vote for a political party. To say ANC, to say EFF. So when people get to vote in a national election, they vote for a party. And if, for example, if ANC get 50% of the vote, it means ANC will get 50% of MPs in parliament. So the political party, the individual political party will then nominate MPs to represent the party.
Is that the arrangement that you would want?
I'm amenable to that arrangement. I don't have a problem with that arrangement.
Okay.
If we vote a party for a party, then a party will then put MPs. In that case, that will be fine.
So after the parliamentary system, what is your next concern?
Yeah, my next concern is the extension of the term of the office of the president by amending section 95. You know, the problem that we have is that these colleagues from ZANU-PF were saying that the amendment is not does not need for a referendum. You know what? The right to govern, my brother, the right to govern is derived from the people. This is the fundamental founding value of our national constitution. I'm not sure if it is section 2F. The founding value, the right to govern comes from the people. So right now we have got this 5-year period. Actually, since 2000, Zimbabwean MPs and presidents, they've been getting that mandate on a 5-year cycle. After every 5 years, we go back to seek another mandate. After every 5 years, we go back to seek another mandate. Right now, we are going to 2028. Under normal circumstances, we are supposed to get the mandate again from the people. But then when we come as parliament to sit and say we have to forget about the mandate of the people, we are not allowing them to vote in a referendum. Actually, what we are doing is the greatest deceit. The greatest deceit to the people of Zimbabwe. Because, you know what, we would have discarded that mandate that will be given. Because for us to save another 2 years, we need that mandate again from the people. You cannot extend our own contract. Imagine a situation whereby you are employed by this company, and when you are there as the whatever position, after your contract is expired, you have to seek the mandate of the employer. The employer, in this case, are the people of Zimbabwe. I think that is common sense. It defies logic. In the largest sense, to say that we don't have to go back to the people. Not only that, the concern is very clear that whenever you want to benefit from a term limit extension on 328 subsection 7, whenever you want to benefit from a term limit extension, you have to go back to the people for a referendum. It is also supported by constitutional court precedents. The maximum punct case, if you read page 50, there is a clear explanation when the judgment by Judge Barash Patel and I forgot the other judge. So when they actually make the judge, they actually said, by contrast, there are clear term limit provisions as provided by our constitution. And they went to mention section 95 as one of them. To say section 95 is a term limit provision. And which fits the character of section 320 subsection 7. So if you look at this amendment, it is saying, notwithstanding section 327, 328, we are going, yes, we should do, the sitting president, the sitting parliament should benefit. That is outravious the constitution. That is outravious the position of law as given by the constitutional court. So to say that we don't need a referendum is a fallacy. It is untrue. It is just political gimmick. I'm sure that's the reason why they don't want us to lay bare this truth in parliament.
Let's also have your response from the proponents of the bill again. Yes. Because their argument is a term, at least according to the constitution, must start from 3 years, going to 5 years. They are extending by 2 years, and therefore it's not going to constitute a term. Therefore, it's not an extension. We are simply changing the life, the cycle of for the president's term. It's not an extension. What is your response?
That's a joke of highest proportion. You know what, my brother? The import of the situation of the clause that says 3 years is deemed to be a full term. The import of that clause in our constitution was intended to prevent the malice that arises from people who say, I served 3 years and then I need another year. This is the malice that we're talking about. So if you look at that clause on our constitution, it actually trying to avoid a situation whereby people who say I served 3 years, then it's not a full term. That was the intention. The intention is not to say that when you serve 3 years, you stop and then say I need more years, then it's not an extension. That's not the meaning. So the import, I think people should understand the import. That's why people say when you read the constitution, you should read it to the letter and the spirit. So if you read the spirit, that was the deeming provision was intended to prevent this malice.
And also there's another issue, maybe if we go beyond the presidential terms. The other question was also directed at you as members of parliament.
Yes.
That with this bill you have become your only arbiter in your own case.
Sure.
You are adjudicating your own case.
Sure.
You are sitting down to say we are extending our term. I thought maybe just to preserve integrity from your side, someone was proposing you should have never been involved even in terms of discussing this bill.
All right, okay, that's fine. You know, my brother, in terms of involvement, it is very important because if you don't involve yourself, they will pass it anyway. Because let me tell you one thing. If you disassociate yourself voluntarily from it, you may actually see that there may be some other provision that may be taken down in the process. So I actually don't believe in capitulation as a politician. I believe to face the bull by its horns. I believe that we don't have, because withdrawal is capitulation. We actually say we have surrendered. Please do whatever you want with us. And no one will sympathize with you when you voluntarily pull yourself out pull yourself out of the debate. So I believe in fighting. That is the nature and the character of every serious politician. So I want to assure you that it is very important to fight. We die fighting. That is the nature of a true and patriotic politician.
And I'm sure you may agree that they will still proceed and pass this bill, even if you try to oppose it, given the statistical figures in Parliament. You are few compared to those who will be voting for in support of the bill.
Yes, that is true.
And the next question would be, what are you going to do if they say, Honorable Cobalt Madzivanyika, with this bill you are allowed to be in Parliament post-2028 until 2030?
That's fine. So it is true. It's a possibility that the bill can pass anyway, even with our contribution. But what is important, my brother, is number one, there's this issue of history. Whenever people take other people to court, it does not necessarily mean that they want to win a case, but they want to set a precedence. That's the first. Secondly, when the bill passes, I think what is very important is a principle. Personally, I was elected to serve a 5-year term, which I'm fighting against right now, this amendment. So when the amendment passes, there's no reason why I should remain in Parliament beyond 2028, because I'm seriously opposed to it. So my position is very clear, my brother. When this bill passes and 2028 comes, I will resign from Parliament. Of course, with in consultation with the people of Mr. constituents, because I don't represent myself.
People will say we've elected you, continue.
Yeah, that would be a big catch, but to be honest, my principle must take me better than what those people say. Because I must try by all means to convince them to say, colleagues, look at this. If we continue with this charade, we are actually sanitizing what we fundamentally disagree. And as such, I don't think I'll get that position.
Is it the same position being shared by your colleagues, opposition, who are not in support of this bill?
Definitely. The majority of them are holding this position.
And who will benefit from your resignations from Parliament?
Yeah, sometimes whenever you should get to a point where you maintain principle over the issue of benefit. Like I've said, I have to sit with the people of Mbizo to actually clearly put my position. To say, colleagues, look at this poison chalice. We have tried to fight this. We have done our best under the current circumstances. But because of its character, cannot continue. Unless if there are changed circumstances, which do not resemble this current administration or the current way of things are happening, in that case we may continue. And change circumstances, they can take many shapes. We are not sure of what's going to happen tomorrow. This is politics. Yes.
And let's also maybe look at another issue or clause which seeks to transfer voters' roll management from ZEC to the Registrar General's office.
Yeah, that clause I think is also one of the most painful clauses. In what way? The role of independent commissions is to do work away from political parties, is to do work away from central government, is to do work away from executive. So, under normal circumstances, having an independent electoral commission was the best thing to do in Zimbabwe. However, transferring certain aspects, such as registration of voters, keeping of registration calendars, keeping of registration files to the registrar. The argument from our colleagues in ZANU-PF is that the registrar is the one who knows who dies, the one who knows who issues the birth certificates and IDs. He knows the right person who are supposed, the people who are supposed to be at an age of voting, 18 years and so forth.
That is sensible.
It's sensible that says, but when it comes to elections, elections are better managed by independent people, independent commissions. So you see that the Registrar General, by nature, is a presidential appointee, right? The Registrar General, by nature, reports to the Minister of Home Affairs. So what then happens is, the Minister of Home Affairs is the political animal. He subscribes to his political views. And he may give directions. This one is a subordinate, the Registrar is a subordinate. He might give directions to say, do A, B, C, D, in favor of his part. And as such, the independence of this aspect of elections becomes compromised. And we are aware of what happened in the past. The Tobeyam Dede issue. People say, hey, Tobeyam Dede is gone, Tobeyam Dede is gone. Tobeyam Dede is gone, but the system remains. So Tobeyam Dede as the system remains. So we don't want to entangle ourselves in those challenges again. Let us ensure that we've got one institution that we can say we can apportion all the blame if election management fails if there's a problem in elections. We can't have a situation whereby we go to court to say we are suing the registrar, we are suing ZEC, we are suing this and this. So we need to sue an individual entity who is responsible for management of all elections. If there are challenges with the ZEC in terms of registration, let's improve technology, let's support them so that they match the standards of the registrar. It's as easy as that.
But all the same, if you're looking at the independence of these commissions, it's one that you have disputed, one that you have questioned for a very long time. Even ZEC chairperson is appointed by the president. So it's one or more or less the same situation.
It may appear so, but you know what? There are constitutional aspects that, or the constitutional aspects that encourage or that should do guide the operation of commissions. Commissions are by nature must be allowed to operate outside the influence of the executive. If they do so, we can sue them on that basis if we've got enough evidence. We can sue them in that regard. But on the registrar is mandated to respect the appointing authority. The registrar is mandated to respect and take instructions from their superior, who is the minister. So those are different situations. Those commissioners, whenever they do anything which we sometimes disagree, we can easily sue them. The Constitution provides the safeguards that are necessary for us to sue them.
And the argument in all these things is that there's also the need to cure the traditional toxicity that has characterized our politics. As opposition, don't you see it that way as well?
Okay, I normally laugh with this statement to say there is toxicity, political toxicity in Zimbabwe that we need to cure and you don't need to have elections because of toxicity. Because the argument of toxicity is brought on the idea of extending the 5-year term to a 7-year term. they were saying there's a lot of political picketing in the country. People take each other to court after elections, and that is toxicity, according to them. The question that comes to me is, when there is toxicity, what causes the toxicity? What causes toxicity is the manner in which elections could have been conducted. And according to history, the history of rigging elections in Zimbabwe has taken a center stage for a long time. And that has been corroborated by almost all international observers, international election observers for the 2023 election. So it is a fact that Zimbabwe's elections were rigged in Zimbabwe. It is a fact because it was corroborated by those international election agents. So when that happens, when toxicity is arising out of rigging of elections, what is the solution? Is the solution extending elections? To me, the answer is no. It defies logic to say that. The answer to solving political success is to amend the constitution, to amend electoral laws, so that we solve the problem of rigging. Because it is rigging which causes electoral toxicity in this country. Mm-hmm. So we are solving a different problem altogether with this kind of arrangement. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so let's also look at the Gender Commission being taken to Human Rights Commission, because the argument is they want to create a one-stop shop that deals with human rights issues in this country. You are also opposed to that clause?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Yeah, this clause, I'm happy that all sides of the political divide, for those who have debated yesterday, they were in agreement that this must be expunged. This amendment, the proposed amendment must be deleted, both from SANU-PF and the opposition. No one, and I want to repeat, no one supported this. So whenever MPs from the political divide reject it, it's clear that there was a nefarious agenda. The agenda is to weaken institutions that provide checks and balances to the executive. So whenever these commissions are in place to provide checks and balances to the executive, they should also, whenever MPs collude to say, no, this must be dealt away with, because it weakens the ability to further the gender issues. Most people think that gender refers to women. It's not correct. Gender issues are issues to do with both the men and the women. And there have been achievements that have been made so far in terms of the Gender Commission. So we don't want to discount them. We want it to remain, and everyone across the political divide was saying that we should proceed by voting no to this amendment.
Fantastic. Let's look at another interesting aspect.
Yes.
In terms of the section should be 212 to do with the defense forces.
Okay.
Specifically, the bill is proposing to change the functions of ZDF from upholding the Constitution and to act in accordance with the Constitution. What is your appreciation of this distinction?
What is funny to me, my brother, is that this dispensation, this current group of leadership that we have is the executive. It is a product of the army, of the defense forces. The 2017 coup. Parliament had already capitulated. Parliament in 2017 had failed to put President Mugabe to account in light of what he was doing, in light of the deficit that he was facing. Parliament had already failed. And it is the defense forces which took the last line of defense to protect our constitution, to uphold our Zimbabwean constitution. And the defense force intervened. When they intervened, every Jack and Jill in this country then took action because they knew that they were now safe to demonstrate and to petition the current government to relinquish President Mugabe out of office. So to then say that we no longer want the army that uphold the constitution in 2017 to take you to power. And then now you say, we don't want them anymore, we don't want them to uphold the constitution. What we're actually saying is that you want to remain the supreme leader. You want to entrench executive consolidation. You don't want any spanners in your way. You want a free highway to dictatorship. That cannot happen. And I fully say that as long as we all agree that this current leadership benefited, we cannot do away with the army. The army is the last leader. The army should uphold the constitution. Upholding the constitution is not an offense. Actually, this clause was made to ensure that whenever all fails, Whenever Parliament fails to do, because Parliament in its current state has failed to put the president to account. Actually, our current Parliament is a brigade of bootlickers. Each time an MP stands, I want to thank the president. Each time I want to applaud the president for silly things like balls. In other countries, we hear the president being thanked on mega projects, like huge electrical projects, where megawatts, above 500 megawatts are created.
Power generation.
Yes, power generation units are bigger. So we don't thank the president over silly things, but I'm ashamed. I'm very much ashamed.
But is this distinction so substantive? The upholding the Constitution and
yes, the distinction
acting in accordance with the Constitution.
The distinction is substantive in the fact that upholding, you can intervene. Act in accordance, you don't intervene whenever you think that the Constitution is being violated. You act in accordance with the Constitution, but you don't intervene. When you uphold, it's an action. You can take action. But when you act in accordance, you lie low. You're just following the Constitution.
When you speak to your fellow MPs from ZANU-PF side, what are they telling you is the motive behind this amendment in terms of the terms of references, upholding the Constitution and acting in accordance with the Constitution? What is the motive from your colleagues there?
Okay, the colleagues from ZANU-PF, their motive is just clear that they don't want the army to intervene to stop executive consolidation. That is the meaning for what they are telling us. That is they no longer, because when the army intervened in 2017, they argued that we are upholding the Constitution. And that was corroborated by the courts to say it was okay. So now that they don't want the army to intervene, because they know that it will happen even to them. They know that the army is the last bus stop to defending our Constitution or to upholding the Constitution when Parliament fails. So the idea is to ensure that the army does not intervene whenever they are caught on the wrong side of the law.
And then maybe you also want to check another issue here is obviously we talked about the Gender Commission. We also want to look at the clause that removes the requirement for the president to appoint Prosecutor General on the advice of JSC, and they're also appointing judges without going through public interviews and so on.
Yeah, let me put this into perspective. The president is appointment of judges and maybe commissioners and other agents, institutions. It's not a new thing. It is happening in most democracies in the world.
Yeah, but I think they refer to Prosecutor General. Let me just read this clause.
Yes.
This clause removes the requirement for the president
to
appoint the Prosecutor General on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. Such an arrangement creates a potential conflict of interest where the commission recommends a candidate for appointment.
Fine. Yeah, I just wanted to bundle them at once, but anyway, let me restrict myself to the appointment of the Prosecutor General. What is important, my brother, is not the president appointing a Prosecutor General. What is important is the extent to which the selection process is transparent. The selection process is very important. So previously, if you look at the old constitution before the amendment, the current constitution before this proposed amendment, it actually provides for the institution of public hearings for all candidates. If you want to be a Prosecutor General, you come for interviews. So the whole nation will be seeing. We'll actually say that the process is transparent. People will be saying, we've looked at this person when he was being interviewed, and we believe he's the right man for the job. So when the appointment takes place, it becomes a bit reasonable in the eyes of Zimbabweans. And besides, there must be safeguards to protect the Prosecutor General from being a presidential person. The danger that we have with the situation whereby a president appoints the Prosecutor General without in consultation, when you say in consultation with the Judicial Service Commission, we actually, the president, it's not instructive. The president will just say good morning, I've appointed this. They've consulted. That's consultation. Because what I'm actually trying to my worry on this clause is that if what it means, the president is appointed directly by himself, without any public interviews, without any transparency in the process. So what can happen is that I can choose my friend to say, this is my hardliner friend. I can choose him to say, come and represent to be my Prosecutor General. So the power of the Prosecutor General, we all know it. He can actually arrest anyone, take it to court and try to prosecute, that cause untold suffering of someone who may not be guilty.
But if we were to put you in his shoes, would you just appoint somebody that you don't know to be the
In the interest of democracy, that's very correct. You don't have to, you are not in power for the sake of yourself. You are in power to save. So when you are saving, you don't save your interest. You save the interest of the people. And as such, you must actually, in some instances, understand that it's not yourself that matters, but it's the collective Zimbabwe that matters.
We need to wrap up, but we also need to talk about one last item, the traditional leaders.
Yes.
There's a clause that repeals Section 281.
Yes.
That traditional leaders must now be allowed to wear political jackets with colors.
That is another fun issue. You know what, my brother? Section 281, subsection 2, provides that traditional leaders should not act in a partisan manner. The current constitution, it says that they should not participate in the political activities of any political party. The traditional chiefs should not further the interests of any political party. That is the current state of the constitution. This amendment seeks to repeal the entirety of 281 subsection 2. To say we don't want that. They must participate, they must be partisan, they must participate, they must further the interests of any political party. The problem with this clause, my brother, is that traditional leaders, they actually preside over the traditional court enforcing the customary law act. They will be actually being presiding officers or judges to customary issues. That cannot go to a court of law, to the other courts. It goes to the customary law court, where the traditional leader adjudicates. So the traditional leader becomes a judge under the circumstances. So whenever you are a judge, you should not participate in political activities, because there's no way you can adjudicate well a case of a SANPF person against an opposition member. When you are purely know that you are wearing a SANPF jacket, that will compromise the administration of justice. And as such, judges must stay away. Not only that, judges are the custodian of communal land. They pass out land in our communal areas. They are those traditional leaders. They are the custodian of communal land. So can I get land if I'm an opposition member or for my communal purposes? Can I get land if I'm a non-opposition member? The answer is no. So if the proposal is going to create a lot of inequity, a lot of suffering, a lot of conflict in our society.
They've been doing it for a very long time, even with this provision.
Yeah, you are aware that some of them, they've been doing it. Not all of them. Let me be very clear with that one. Not all of them have been doing that. Those who were doing it, they were doing it hiding, which is, to me, is better. Because remember, there was a chief minister who was sued when he made the political statements at a rally, his NPF rally. And he was sued and was reprimanded. And to this date, he was actually ordered not to say that word again. If he does so in future, he will face the consequence of justice, which is good. And up to now, he's told the lie. That is what we want. Traditional leaders are there to unite society. So whenever they participate in political activities, there's going to be conflict, serious conflict in this country. So you don't actually support, because there are other people who don't participate in political activities. Public servants, the judges, of course, they don't participate. But they are political animals. They've got their political interests. But you don't further them in the public. You don't participate in a partisan manner. You don't act in a partisan manner. And that is very good for our society.
Honorable, we've discussed quite at length in terms of this bill. There are issues that are also emerging as the debate is kick-started in Parliament. We read a statement from the police, something that people are now putting insinuations to say your security as MPs might be compromised. What is happening?
Anything can happen in the world of politics. Well, especially when you are behaving when you are introducing issues that are creating a public discourse, or that are creating public insecurity. This bill, the majority of Zimbabweans are not happy with this bill. And as such, anything can happen. I'm not inciting violence, I'm not encouraging anyone to participate in any form of anarchy. But I'm saying whenever such kind of things happen, or these kind of bills that threaten democracy, that threaten the democratic space of Zimbabweans, anything can happen. There's a good of MPs will be at stake. It is true, my brother, under the circumstances.
Were these conversations happening with your fellow MPs at the...
Yes, that's actually another honorable member stood on a point of order to say we cannot stay here up to 10 o'clock in the evening because our security is under attack. And the speaker conceded. Right now, at half past 5, 6 o'clock, we are joining. Before 6 o'clock, we are joining Parliament. In line with the response to those security concerns. It is very true.
But what are your fellow ZANU-PF MPs telling you over tea, something outside even Parliament when you are talking to them?
The ZANU-PF MPs, their major worry was that if the second ballot does not suffice, it means their interest...
What do you mean by second ballot?
Yes, there was this push that members of Parliament must vote on a second ballot, especially under this very important bill. Unfortunately, that PF has been whipping its MPs to say, no, there's nothing like that. We should use what is being provided by the standing orders. We should divide the House. So their cry was to say, colleagues, we believe that this bill is not correct. But we cannot stand up to challenge it on live on debate. Because it will be for everyone to see. Our life will be at risk. And our businesses and our source of income will be at risk. So the best way we can support this bill is to have a second ballot. So if it cannot be provided for, then this is as good as done.
But do you think there is a chance to save democracy, in your view, if the Parliament is going to do the second ballot?
There is a chance because there is precedence. At some point, as an NPF member approached the courts to challenge the election of the former Speaker of Parliament, Love Momoyo, to say it was supposed to be by second ballot. And it then happened. So if you raise that, you know why should you raise this in Parliament?
What I mean is,
yes.
Do you think there's a chance maybe for this bill not to see the light of day if a second ballot is the method that is used to vote for it?
Yes, definitely. If second ballot is used, I want to assure you this. If the second ballot is used to determine the voting process, it will not see the light of the day. Because we only need 94 MPs to stop this from sailing through. And I am aware of many MPs, countless of them, who tell us that our colleagues, to be honest, this is madness, this is mediocrity of highest proportions. And they don't support it even in action. There are ZANU-PF MPs who have never, since the beginning of this bill, they have never uttered a word to say, I'm supportive of this bill, I'm supportive of this. They were just neutral. Until today. There are people who are like that, and there are many. So that is why you see Minister Zambe rushing up and down, rushing, saying that we cannot allow that. He is aware of the impending danger that can arise out of allowing a second ballot.
If you were to be given audience with the president today, what are you going to tell him? Yeah,
I have been always frank with the president. Unfortunately, some people took it as personal enmity. No, that's not it. I was been frank before to say, Mr. President, you have created a good reputation from 2017. You have served your 2 terms, which are end in 2028. Do the right thing. When 2028 comes, you actually indicated before that you are a constitutionalist. You will follow the constitution. You have been asked again whether you are going to leave after your 2 terms, and you said, I'm going to leave when my 2 terms expires in 2028. You have been asked again to say, are you going to, are these people trying to persuade you going to succeed in persuading you to go to beyond the second term? And you actually indicate that you are going to persuade the persuaders, not to persuade you. And then if you then get persuaded, you would have demonstrated to the people of Zimbabwe that you are not sincere as a president. And that position requires integrity. That position requires credibility. So I encourage the president to keep his reputation, retire to his farm, play with his cousins, allow the country to move forward, and reject this bill, to not assent to this bill.
Your parting shots to those who have been watching.
My parting shots, particularly to Zimbabweans, that I understand what you are going through. I understand that the heaviness in your hearts, the stiffness in your hearts, the pain in your hearts. You're not in this alone. We are together. And eventually, by the will of God, we will prevail.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks a lot. Thank you.